Hi, this is Sarah with Soiled Plant, and today I'm going to be doing my houseplant tour. So there's never really a good time to do this. My house is never completely clean the way I want it to be clean. The plants are never in perfect condition for showing, at least all at the same time. So there's no better time than the present. We're just going to go through it. You're going to see the plants exactly as they are right now. I currently have 65 houseplants. I counted. Any accessories or things I mention in the video, I will put a link to in the description for you. And without further ado, let's get into the plants. Here's the view as you walk into the living room. And so I'll take you on a tour of what's here. To the left is my Sansevieria black coral. It's not doing great. It keeps getting, things like this going on. I've had to cut back quite a few because they've gotten a little floppy or, started bending. It's not doing great, but it's got this new growth point down here and it looks to be recovering and healing itself. This is my Sansevieria Whale Fin. It's awesome. I just got it a few weeks ago and it keeps wanting to fall over, so I keep trying to press it down into the soil to make sure it doesn't fall over. It keeps wanting to lean. And then over here under this lamp, which does have a grow light in it, I've got this Hoya pubicalyx. When I bought it, they said it was a Hoya pubicalyx splash, and I wasn't sure if that was true or not. Most of the ones I've seen, they all look like this, but I do have some that have like more splash on the leaves than others. So I'm not sure which one it is, but either way I love it. I've actually got it propped up with 2 chopsticks and some twine. Eventually I'd like to have one of those where it kind of loops around. For now, this is my setup to kind of make sure it grows upright and doesn't get too viney and all of that. Behind there is actually some paper flowers that my nieces made me a few Christmases ago, and I love having them next to my real plants. Around the corner from the Hoya pubicalyx, I've got this ZZ plant. This is actually one of the first plants I ever bought, and it's growing and doing okay. I've got it on this super amazing upside down trash can because I haven't bought a stand for this yet. So from the ZZ plant, you'll notice on this table right here, I've got some plants. Because of these guys right here, my cats love to chew on plants, and they love to chew on them and then go throw up somewhere. So I've had to keep basically everything out of their clutches. And those plants right here are from IKEA. And I bought them a long time ago, back when I didn't think I could keep a plant alive. And so I was happy I was able to find a purpose for them and bring green elsewhere when a real plant there would get chewed up, as I have a few plants that can attest to that. I've also got another nice IKEA plant sitting on this shelf up here. But those are the only fake plants I have. Over here I have my Monstera Deliciosa. This is my largest plant, at least as far as foliage goes, but I do have 3 of them. These lights right here are normally on, but I turned them off because it was a little blinding. Here are my newest leaves. So this one came out about a month ago with the fenestrations only on one side. And then this is my newest leaf. It just came out last week. Still hasn't completely hardened yet, but I've got those beautiful fenestrations on both sides. So this one gets some light from this eastern window here, probably not a lot from this window on this side, but this big window right here is a southern facing window. It gets good light like right now, but aside from that it gets very little, so I do have that supplemental light right there. I've got this little bamboo tripod system going on here, and then I have it tied at the top, and I basically just attach it on there with some twine to kind of force it to grow upward and it doesn't get too floppy. Coming over here, this is one of my favorite spots in the whole house because it's one of the bigger concentrations of plants. We'll start with this beautiful bird of paradise. I bought this at Costco for like $30, and it was pretty much this size when I bought it. I love it so much. But I've got this one right here that's just about to unfurl. Can you see that? It's coming out right there. And I've got 2 more here. There's one right here. The tip kind of got broken off, but it's still going. And then there's this one right here. I don't know if you can see it right there. That just started peeking up. So all 3 of my sort of stalks in the base there are getting their own growth points. And I'm so excited. I want this thing to be nice and full and big. And it's got a little bit of room to grow up. 2.5 feet taller it could get. and it loves being in this little corner. It gets some of the south-facing light from that window and a lot of good light from this eastern window, so it's very happy here. I've got my plants on this top shelf. I have this Singhonium, and I'll have to apologize ahead of time because I do not have vast Singhonium knowledge. I can get them to grow and they're very happy, but I don't know genuses at all. So this is a Singhonium that I bought just because I liked that cute little pink splash in the center there. Yeah, so I just love the little splash of pink in the veining just in the center. It's very subtle and it's very cute and I love it. And this is my other Singhonium up there, which has a kind of similar look, but it's more defined on the veins and isn't as spread out. If you know the names of these, by all means, please let me know. But these are these two Singhoniums right here, and they are loving this spot. They've been growing like crazy up here. This is my Philodendron Black Cardinal that I have right here. All of my leaves are coming out wrinkly, and I don't know what that's about. I read somewhere that it's due to watering, but it's been pretty consistently in a good spot watering wise. I also heard it might be fertilizing, but I haven't owned this plant for very long, so I actually haven't fertilized it really at all, but I need to do some research to figure out why that is. But it has put out about 3 new leaves since I got it, and then it's got a new growth point right there, so that's really cool. Also, another weird thing about this plant, it's got a tiny splash of pink on this one leaf, and it's a super low leaf, so I don't know if this is like a reverted pink princess or has some sort of recessive gene in there. I have no idea, but I thought that was very interesting that it had that. And on this other side, these are some cuttings of my Cebu Blue Epipremnum that I cut off earlier this year and was going to bring to a plant swap, but of course, you know, with all the stuff going on, that got canceled. So I decided to pot it up, hopefully, you know, still gift that to somebody someday, but it's up here growing at the moment. From there, we will go down a shelf. I will start by explaining this here. The cats were chewing on this Scindapsus. They really like chewing on the Scindapsus, so I switched the sides, but I also put up a little barrier because they can sit on the edge of the couch and then chew on things. I put that up just to be sure because I really don't want them chewing on this rubber plant because they can actually be toxic for cats. Yeah, but this is my Ficus teneki, also known as a rubber plant with like this beautiful variegation on it. I absolutely love this style of variegation where it almost looks like brush strokes and like a little abstract impressionist painting. I absolutely love it. It's why I love white fusion so much and everything. But it's put off 2 new leaves since I got it, and it's got another one on the way right here, but it's been doing really well. It's almost too tall for this shelf. It's really hard to find good-looking shelves that have a big gap for putting larger plants on it. This is one of the few I could find that had a larger than 12-inch shelf height in between the shelves. I'd like it to stay on this shelf as long as possible because of that nice southern light, and it is kind of scattered because of the tree right here, so it don't get a lot of direct light, but it's pretty much continuous all day long, and it's been great. And so it's a perfect spot for it, but once it gets too big, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might have to go on the floor or something like that, but then I'd have to worry about the cats. But that's a problem for a future day. And next up, I have this Hoya Crimson Queen. This is also one of the first plants I ever bought when I was trying to get into Hoyas. I actually bought 2 of these, and the other one has sadly passed on. And this one has been so slow to grow. I bought it this size, and it's been about this size forever. But up until this summer, I didn't really have a whole lot of growth on it. But that little tail on the end just kind of exploded over the last couple of months. So it's still alive. It's still there. It's still kicking. I might dabble more into Hoyas, but that is a slippery slope. There's so many, and they're so pretty. And I want to make sure that I'm, you know, very cautious with the amount of Hoyas I bring in the house just until I get my bearings. Last on this shelf is my Scindapsus pictus aureus. So this one has a little bit less of that silver than a lot of other Scindapsus, but I actually kind of love this one. This one's been sprawling quite a bit, so it's got a tail on this side, it's got one over here, it's got one on the back side. It's been very, very happy. That is her. She is a pretty one. From there downward, I have a Monstera Deliciosa. This is a baby one. This Monstera I actually took off of the other Deliciosa you saw. It was growing off the side of that plant, and I decided to pot it up into its own separate pot. And it's put out this new leaf recently. It's super tender, nice and cute. This one here was attacked by the cats when I used to have it on this side instead of over here, because the cats didn't seem to want to chew on this one for some reason. And then I guess, you know, a day changed and they decided to chew on it, but luckily it's only that one leaf. I will say I have a humidifier on this side and I have another humidifier of the exact same type next to my Caletheas. And I have them on two separate sides because my dining living room area is all kind of one big room. So I need two in order to keep the humidity where I want it for the entire space. But this one hardly ever turns on. The other one I have does most of the work. This one turns on only when the other one runs out of water, or if I have the heat on, sometimes it'll kick on, but in the summertime I've seen this turn on very, very infrequently. So yeah, that's everything in the living room. So now we will move on into my dining room. This is my Pothos Pearls and Jade. She is on this lovely hook in the ceiling that was here when I rented the place. This eastern window, it doesn't get a ton of light, but you know, it's doing okay. The new leaves it's putting out have a little bit less variegation, but not none. You can kind of see on these ones here, they're a little more splashy as opposed to, you know, some of these other ones up here, which have a lot more. But the new ones are getting variegation, and I think it looks really nice, so I haven't moved it, and it seems to be very happy up here. The other thing about getting a little bit less light is I water this thing so infrequently because it doesn't seem to need it. She was on my wish list for a long time, so I was very happy to find a nice full plant. Very, very happy with that one. And then, sorry if the lighting is going to be awful, but this is my string of hearts over here. So this one I actually just recently got. This one is just so cute. I was very happy to find a pretty full plant that was full on the top and was already starting to trail, and I got it for a pretty decent price, so I ended up buying two of them. But look how pretty that is. Yeah, and it's another wish list plant for sure that I'm very happy to have in my collection now. The goal is to rival crazy plant guys, right? I'm coming for you, man. I'm gonna make sure that this one is just as beautiful and lush and beautiful as yours, right? That's the goal. That's always the goal. From the string of hearts, we'll loop around, and this is the start of my Calathea table here. I have a detailed Calathea collection video that I will link in the card up above for you, but I will go through a brief rundown. These are all ones you've seen before. This is my Orbifolia. I was having some issues with watering on this one, and so I have a couple of leaves that are pretty damaged, but underneath here are two brand new leaves that are absolutely perfect, gorgeous, not a brown spot on them. And this is another new growth point. It's got a little brown spot on it already, and I don't know how that happens, but I need to figure that out and solve it immediately because I do not want any other leaves to be damaged. I love this plant so much. It's beautiful. Over here I have all of my Stromanthe, which are on a major struggle bus right now. This one's doing okay. It keeps losing leaves and not producing new ones. I think it's overwatered, but I haven't watered it in weeks. Like, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get through it. These ones were ones that were hit really hard by spider mites, and they are just struggling so much with recovery. A lot of the new growth tends to die off. Yeah, this one has a tiny little piece of new growth coming, and I have a feeling that's not going to be long for this world either. You know, these are all just struggling. I don't think they're going to survive, honestly, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep working with them. We'll see if I can get them to rebound. Up here is my Calathea Warskowiskii. Love it. My favorite one probably of all of my Calatheas. It's got that nice velvet touch to it, and it got the beautiful purple backsides. I love this plant so much. She is leaning pretty hard. Eventually I'd like to repot her and kind of get her going straight up and down again, but I love her. My Calathea rufa barbara, my big bushy plant. and she keeps getting new growth and she's super happy. All the little teeth marks are from when I attempted to keep this on my dining room table, and the cat said, no, I want to eat that, and so I moved her back over here. But I've kept all those leaves on just because they're working. They just don't look the cutest. And she is really happy, and look how bushy she is, and at night she gets really upright, so she kind of goes from a like downward kind of palm looking thing, and then she kind of perks up at night. It's super cute. So over here on top of my humidifier, I have a Philodendron Plowminii that I have separated from the mother plant that I have in the other room. I have her actually in a Alocasia pond, in a Alocasia pot, and it's growing. It seems okay. It's got this little funky growth point going on over here. Oh, let me turn it so you can see it a little better. Yeah, you can see it, you know, funky philodendron growth for sure, but you know, she's got a growth point come in. This is my experimental one. I have another pot that I would like to use, but this is my experiment to see sort of how it works and if it kind of sustains the plant pretty well. And so far so good. This hasn't lost anything and hasn't lost any leaves. And it's got this nice little indicator that bobs up and down. I just watered it the other day. And you actually just water it through the top. There's no channel or anything to water through. You just kind of pour it over the kind of rocks here. And yeah, so far so good. In the back, I have a beautiful Aglaonema sparkling Sarah. I can't be named Sarah and not own the beautiful sparkling Sarah. I actually saw this for the first time on Plantarina on her YouTube channel, and I loved the speckling on it. I loved the pattern and the baby pink stems and petioles. Oh my goodness, it's just so pretty. And Aglaonemas are so easy to care for, and Ish loves it here. Absolutely loves it. In front here, I have a Kaliesha Sabrina. I showed this in my Kaliesha video, how it was in rehab, so I'm losing some of the older leaves, but when I showed you last time, I just had different stems coming up, or I had different growth points coming up. Look now, look at them. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new leaves. Oh, nope, not 6. 7, 8 new leaves coming up. And of course they're itty bitty and tiny, but they're perfect. Not a mark on them, and they're just gorgeous and beautiful and just adorable. So adorable. Look at that. How can you look at that face? How can you? Like, oh my goodness, she's so cute. So she's definitely rebounding. She's super happy, and she loves being here under the grow lights that I have. And then, of course, it's the beast, the monster, the legend. This is my Maranta Lemon Lime. Always with the growth points. I think this is actually a flower coming up. And I had some flowers earlier in the spring, so I'm very excited to get a few more. This thing always has at least like 6 growth points on it at all times, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know what to do with this. I'm gonna have to keep cutting it back, and I don't know. If you're in the Michigan area and you really want one of these plants, I have cuttings for days, so let me know, and we can make arrangements, right? A little bit more about this setup. On either side of my banquet here, I've got some lights that kind of double as, you know, ambiance lights, but they all have grow lights in them. These are ones that I've just kind of found that are regular size light bulbs that happen to be the right spectrum that plants like. So that is it for the rest of the dining room. All right, here we are in my bathroom, and I have a couple of vining philodendrons up here, and I have my mother plant for the Cebu Blue. I'll try to arrange this so you can actually see it. So here is my Cebu Blue Epipremnum, the mother plant. She's got some nice vines going on. She's very, very cute. She keeps growing. She was also one of the casualties of spider mites, and she's rebounded pretty well. I still treat her at least once a month or something like that, just in case something starts coming back. I have her on just a hook on one of these little kind of like sticky hooks that just sticks to the tile here, and it hasn't given me any problems at all. Yeah, that is my Cebu Blue Epipremnum. And hi, how are you? This is actually my favorite part of my plant collection, at least looks-wise, aesthetics-wise. I love, love, love this. So this is actually on top of, this is on top of just like a little cabinet that's above my toilet. And I have all of my vining philodendrons here. So on this side, I have the standard heartleaf philodendron that is so gorgeous and I love it so much. This one is actually from a cutting off of my parents' plant, which is about 30 years old. So this has a lot of sentimental value for me, and all of those little green leaves are all brand new that have been growing since I potted this up a few months ago, and it's been super happy. And I have it in this awesome 3D printed pot that I found locally. From the heartleaf philodendron, we're moving on over to the micans. Now I also have 2 micans because I love them so much, and I was so paranoid that I would kill one. Buying 2 plants is kind of insurance, right? Super paranoid that I'm going to kill one of them and then I'll be without this beautiful, beautiful plant. So this one, I got it in this pot. It's still in its nursery pot here. And it is exploded. She is going all over the place. She was climbing up the mirror at one point. I keep trying to turn her to make sure she grows evenly on all sides. Same for all of these. But this window on this side is actually a western window. And so it's getting already scattered western light, and the mirror helps get it more light as well. I don't give any other supplemental lighting for these 3, and they are just so happy. They are like just peas in a pod, happy, happy, happy little clams. This one, oh my gosh, one of the most underrated plants, or maybe it isn't underrated and everyone equally loves these, but this is my Philodendron Brazil, and holy cow, she is just a stunner. She will stop traffic. Look at this baby. Oh my goodness, I love her so much. She was actually about the same size as the micans when I got her, and the leaves have just gotten huge, and look at how beautiful and unique all of these leaves are. Oh my goodness. She is my world. I love her. So yeah, that's all I have in my bathroom. Here in my bedroom, sorry for the echo, this is my Pozos Jade variety that hangs in this window right here. It's the only window in my bedroom, and there happened to be a little hook in the ceiling. So I've got her here. She definitely needs a water. She's on the droopy side right now. I don't know if I can reach here. I'm actually standing on my dresser. So you can see kind of how big some of the biggest leaves are. They're getting there. They're getting kind of hefty. So she's really happy here. And I love her. She's one of my favorites. I know she's like super basic or whatever, but it's just so pleasing to see her just grow and thrive over here and have it. I love vining plants, clearly. Yeah. This is Maggie, little Maggie May. Just getting in the way. Maggie, I need to step on that. Yes, thank you. So at the base here that gets the least amount of light, I have my little rehab clinic, which some of these plants will look familiar to you if you watched my Kaliesha collection video. This one here, so I'll start with the worst of the bunch. This one has seen better days. It got chewed to pieces by my cats, is basically what happened here. My cats for a while stopped chewing on plants, and I thought they were kind of over it. So I decided to risk, putting it on a table so I could get more foliage in my living room on that little table, and they chewed it to pieces. It's struggling to recover. It's still putting off new growth and everything, so I don't think it'll die. It's just not going to look cute for a long time, basically. So I have her down here on my little shelf of shame going on, but she's doing all right. She's doing fine. Over here, this is my, you see that? They chewed on it. How did that happen? I usually keep this door closed, so one of the times when they're in here with me, they must have snuck a bite or two. Well, at least it's on that leaf that's not super cute, so that's good at least. But yeah, this is my Calathea roseopicta dotty that I showed in the other video. I had 4 leaves at that point, and it did grow these other 2 since then, but they look funky. Yeah, do you see how pale that is? And it's got this splotchy look to it. It doesn't look like these ones at all, so I don't know what's going on. with the newest growth that's coming in, but the other ones look pretty good actually still. So it's coming back. I might eventually move that into the other room to replace one of these Stromanthes maybe, but we'll see. And this barren wasteland of a plant here is my Calathea ornata. The last leaf I had that I showed officially died off and is no longer with us, but it's got this beautiful growth here and here that are totally coming up. Look at those. It's trying to survive, it's trying to live, and I will let it try to live, and I will give it minimal attention until it eventually lives or dies. No one ever tells you that doing this is exhausting. Like, I'm out of breath talking this much and moving around and trying to hold my phone and all this stuff. Here I have a Dracaena Janet Craig. I bought this one to basically fit in my old house. I wanted a plant that could handle low light, that was kind of compact and could sit on my fireplace. Now that I no longer have that house, this poor plant has been regulated to be here. It needs a good dusting, but it's been doing very well. Now, right here is where I have my Monstera Peru that is on the struggle bus. I just talked about this in my last video. I don't really know why it's not growing. Did you see the cattail? Just wanting to get all the attention. Yeah. You trying to get attention? You want to chew on plants? Don't think so. Not while I'm sitting here. Yeah, sorry. So the Monstera Peru, she's struggle bussing a little bit. She hasn't grown very much, but I've got her here. It gets a lot of good window from this western window here. Back here is a Syngonium holly, at least supposedly, that I bought from Home Depot, and this one was one of the Syngoniums that was actually on my wish list. And all the old growth has that nice white variegation on the inside, that beautiful pattern, and all of the new leaves are just green. These new growth down here, they've got so much less of that white, and it's turning into this kind of pattern. I'm assuming it's a light problem, but this is a good western light, so if it needs more light than that, it's a finicky little Syngonium. Over here, this was a Pothos I saved from a bargain shelf at Home Depot, and I believe it's a marble queen. I'll put a correction, of course, if I'm wrong. But it seems to be growing very, very well. You know, it's a Pothos. They're pretty easy plants. I have been having to water this one quite a bit. This is a brand new leaf that's nice and white. Look at that. Oh, so cute. So cute. And I almost forgot back here, I have a little Sansevieria that I cut apart. So I had a large stalk from the Sansevieria right there. I decided to cut it into pieces and try to propagate it, and this was the only one that grew roots after months and months of trying to get it to root. And I've had it in this pot for the better part of a year, and it's finally produced a little leaf. So this is going to be its own little snake plant soon. I'm moving right next to this interrupter here. I have my other Philodendron micans. She is also doing well, just like the other one. She's not exploding quite as much, though she does have a lot of roots coming out of the bottom. She's of course doing well, like she's getting new growth and everything, but the one in the bathroom is just exploding everywhere, and this one isn't exploding quite as much. That bathroom lighting is pretty ideal, little did I know when I put all the plants up there. It's still very pretty, very cute. I love the colors on these, how it looks basically like green to brown to red kind of color. Oh, it's so cute, and it's fuzzy. He's sitting here like petting all these leaves all the time. Behind that, I have my Neon Pothos. I've had this one for the better part of a year, and it hasn't started vining yet. Why won't you vine? You can see it's kind of starting to think about it, but I feel like it's been thinking about it for the better part of 6 months. I've got her here, and she's nice, big, and full, but she is super cute, and I love the coloring on it, and I love how, you know, the contrast between like a normal leafy green versus this color. It's so jarring and so cool. It's almost like a yellow, how light it is. I have my only begonia, which is a Begonia Rex. I bought this for my office window, and I no longer have that office with a nice window. So she's here because my office currently is, you know, in the center of the building or whatever, and I don't have a window anymore. And she's still growing, and look, this is the second time she's bloomed for me this year. Oh my goodness, Ash. She's just very happy. She likes the conditions I'm giving her, but she just kind of looks a little funky. Yeah, especially on that side, you can see that it's a lot of stem and the leaves are kind of high up there and stuff. That's that one. I'm so sorry about this lighting. This is terrible. I shouldn't have filmed this in like midday, but that means the plants are getting good light, right? I have my Monstera Deliciosa, but you can see the pot, and she is just vining like crazy. This vine is so long. Okay, so it starts there, goes around, and it goes all the way over here. That's the end of it right there. And I've thought about cutting this up and propagating it, but it does seem to love it. I put it right here, and it basically gets prime like western light right here, and it loves it. And I don't want to keep this vine this long, so I might chop it before the end of the summer. I'm not sure. Here on the other side, it's not quite as viney. So yeah, that's what that is. I'm trying to decide what to do with that ultimately. Over here was another plant I tried to keep on a table, thinking it's a Sansevieria. It doesn't have that like soft leafy texture. The cats won't chew on that one. I was incorrect. But it's gotten some new growth, so this is a new piece and this one's a new piece. This is just a snake plant that I bought from IKEA. I have no idea what variety it is. I'm sure it's pretty common and everyone else knows what it is. With Sansevieria, for some reason, it's hard for me to differentiate between the plants. I just appreciate them for what they are. Unknown variety. So now moving on to the top shelf, but first I have to point out these aerial roots. This one goes down here and this one goes all the way to the floor. You see, it's actually touching the floor, going all the way up. Aerial roots, can you guess what it is? Can you guess? There's another aerial root. It's a Monstera Deliciosa! So this Monstera I bought as a cutting, and it was the first Deliciosa I ever bought. And when I bought it, it had 2 leaves on it. I lost one already, but this is the other one that it came with. And everything else has been new and has grown in the last year, including all of these insane aerial roots. And this is the newest leaf with a nice fenestration on it. So it took a little while, took my 4th leaf before it finally had a fenestration. Well, I took it down to get a better look at it and discovered it had spider mites. Yay! So I moved her over here. There's this window over here and there's not much in this corner, so this is a north-facing window, not much likes to grow over here. So I will put her over here and set her aside from treatment and probably have to treat everything else on the shelf. Since we're over on this side, I'm going to point out I have another snake plant over here. This is another unknown variety that I bought from Home Depot a long time ago. I have her sitting here and she's just next to my greenhouse. So she gets a lot of supplemental light and seems to be doing pretty well. Just being a snake plant and being cool over here. But she's, a decent size. She's maybe like 3 feet tall. Moving on. Okay. Oh man. This is my Dieffenbachia. It's my only Dieffenbachia that I have. Super cute. I actually picked this out with the boyfriend and he wanted this one. So this is the one we have. At his place, he actually has his own version of this same plant and his only plant. So he must really like it. But I've named him Paolo as requested. So this is my only plant with a name. Paolo, since you were next to the Monstera, you're definitely getting treated for spider mites today. Yay! Looking forward to that. And on the very end over here, also going to be treated for spider mites soon. This is my Philodendron Pluminii. She is a big old girl. She's sprawling, she's growing, she's happy. I've got her in a big Lethusa pot with soil, same ones that Kaylee Ellen uses. So I thought I'd try a plant out, and this is where I have her. So she is similar to a Gloriosa where she's a runner, and that means basically that the stem runs horizontal to the soil, like so, and then the little stalks, petioles, they come out of that stem that's running along the ground. So it's actually butting up against the edge. Since I planted it, this came out, and then this leaf here came out, and it's got another one on the way. So I have a feeling I'm going to need to lift this up and lift the dirt up so that it can actually crawl over the side of the pot. So I'll need to do that. And on the other side over here, it's actually doing the same thing. It's not quite shoved up against the wall like this one on this side is, but it's getting there. You can tell with the window how the veining is and how pretty that is. The veins on them are so pretty. One thing that I do love about these that are very unique, and you can see it best on this one up here, is the little ridges along the edge of the stem like that. They look like little ruffles. See that? That's so cool, and I just love stuff like that. I've got this leaf coming in. It is growing and it's super happy. Let me give you another look at it. That is it for my big shelf over here. And last but certainly not least, I have my greenhouse, which is not even close to being full, which means I have more room for more plants. I will take you in and we will go through shelf by shelf. This is my Alocasia Tiny Dancer. I just love how unique this is, that it's got these really cool stalks that grow almost like a syngonium. The leaves themselves are, you know, very much like alocasia, but just teeny tiny and super cute. And this is another one that my cats love to chew on. So this one is actually pretty much fully recovered itself from the cat attack. This one here is a huge success. This one I bought, and it said that it was an Alocasia fairy, and I'm not sure exactly what that is, if that's a real, you know, plant name or not, if there's another plant or if there's another name for it. And this leaf right here, it was a lone single leaf for pretty much the entirety I had the plant, because I lost 2 leaves right after bringing it home while it was acclimating. And then just 2 weeks ago, this one finally unfurled. And it looks so different, right? Like, they look like they're different plants. This one is very smooth and delicate, and this one almost looks like a poly, and it's glossy and all of that. Like, it's very strange, and it's definitely coming from the same stalk, right? So they look so different. I don't know, this one's a big old question mark for me. I have no idea what's going on here, but it did get the second leaf, and it looks like another one may be coming along. This one here is my Gloriosa. I just showed this one off in my last video, so I won't linger too much, but there's its new leaf. It's still in the hardening process. The base here, it is actually getting another growth point. You see that? Super cute. It's coming out. Point, and that one here has been grown in my conditions since, you know, it's been grown in this greenhouse with the lighting and everything. Kind of what's going to happen to it and how big it is and if it's going to be healthy, all of that. I'm very excited to find out. This one here is a Alocasia success story. It's a Alocasia Mandalay, and when I bought it, it had a few stalks and it went all the way down to a nub and basically had to grow from a little nub again. And it does have another little growth point coming. Oh, so exciting. But this one just came out a few days ago, and it's super, super, you know, loosey-goosey and all of that. It's just a little baby, but yeah, it rehabilitated itself. So don't give up on alocasia, because that one was a stump for a good couple of months before it finally grew out a new leaf. Unless you have no interest in rehabilitating the plant and you want to get rid of it, fine. They will definitely bounce back if you let them. Over here, I have my big Kaliesha Sabrina Dottie. It's super, super happy. It's got a new growth point in here, and it's got another one. Where is it? Oh, there she is. She is nice and big, and she's going to come out soon. She is doing very, very well. No browning, no nothing. Well, don't look at that one. Hardly any browning. She's super happy. Doing very well in here, and yeah, loving all that higher humidity. In the greenhouse, I try to keep it above 70, close to 80 if I can, consistently, but if it's above 70, I generally leave it alone. I have my Philodendron Brazil that is struggle bussing a little bit, but its growth point back here is still growing. It's still doing its thing. It's getting a little bit taller, couple little millimeters every day, but it's up here and it's still doing well. Over here I have my, oh my gosh, my Calathea White Fusion. That's like one of my favorite plants, and I just blanked on its name. But she's doing really well. She is still getting a little bit of browning, but I think that has to do with my watering and not the humidity in here, because the humidity is pretty ideal for the most part. But she is getting new growth and such, which is crazy. Look at that little pretty leaf coming in. If you can see it. There she is. Oh, so cute. I'm very excited. She probably could actually use some water right now. Maybe. But yeah, so she's super cute, and at night she does go up and down. That's another way with Calathea to know that they're healthy. I've noticed my plants, right before they're about to collapse, you can tell that they're unhappy because they don't go up at night and they don't do the prayer thing at night. So she prays every night, so I know she's, you know, her soul is good, right? So over here, I have my Philodendron Arabapoense. I showed this one last week, and just from last week, this one has started to unfurl. Oh my gosh, I love how this plant unfurls and does new growth. Like, look at this color. Look at it. Oh my gosh, that is the coolest thing just ever. This one still hasn't even fully hardened. It's growing a little bit. I don't think it's going to be like Big Daddy size, but it is still growing and it's pretty big. This one, as it's unfurling, is a little bit bigger than this one was, so I'm hoping it's a little bit bigger. We'll see. So yeah, that's this whole half here. See, like I said, there is so much room for more plants. Just saying. And on this side, I guess I'll start at the top and go down. These are my two big Alocasia Fridex, and they are stunning. Just my pride and joy. Just my life, my earth, moon, and sun, just everything. They are so gorgeous. Look at the size of this leaf. That is insane to me. But this is the one that I showed in my Green Spaces ID update. So it's still the same. This was the leaf that unfurled. I can actually show you that one. So that is the size of the unfurled leaf. So compared to the other Big Daddy, it's maybe like 80% of the size, which I'm completely fine with. But it is beautiful. Like, look at that vein. That is just, it's like neon. I love it. I did cut off one of the leaves that was pretty much dead. This one's pretty close. But look, even Fridex when they're dying are cute. Like, that's unfair. Like, they just turn bright yellow like this, but keep that white vein, and then they just eventually fall off. But that is, even when they die, they're beautiful. Like, come on, that's unfair. And this one, like the other one, is just loving the conditions in here. And all of these leaves, like this one was the newest leaf, which is huge. And this one is in the process of turning over. So you can see it's kind of like flat, like a table. The edges are still curled upward because they were like this. And so she's starting to kind of come out a little bit. All of these are beautiful. The other thing with this one that's a little interesting is there's a lot of small growth along the edges. That's a little interesting. And I've kind of watched all of these come up, and these were not here before. This whole plant I'm just so in love with. I think everyone should have one. They're perfect plants pretty much. So moving down, I'll start with the one in the middle because it's not interesting to look at, but this is my Alocasia Fridex that was having problems from shipping. This is my Green Spaces one that died back. Yeah, it's getting a little taller, so it's growing. It'll come up with some leaves, it'll survive, but yeah, it's recuperating right now. Alocasia Silver Dragon, the one that's named I mess up all the time. It's still doing the same thing. It's still got that little nub in the back. It's not growing super fast like some of the other ones, but it's also in recovery, so she's still doing okay. Over here, this one's a fun one. This is my Monstera Silt'e. She came with 7 leaves, and one of them is dying off. That one's almost on the way out. This one's like the Fridex, right? Where when they die, they're pretty. Like, I think that's a beautiful dead leaf. It's a weird thing to say, but that's super cool looking. But look at this. It's just reaching, even though it's directly under a light. So I'm guessing what that means is it doesn't want this much light, and it wants less light, so it's trying to get out of the light. So I might actually move this one to a different area and, put a plant in here that will appreciate all of the humidity and light that I'm giving it. So last but not least, these 3. So this one here is my Alocasia cuprea. This is the last remaining leaf on it. The other 2 passed away, unfortunately, but understood. Wait a minute. What is that? Is that a pest? Ah, this has a pest on it. I'm seeing them moving. Look at this. All these little white speckles are pests. Ah, okay. Well, I'm gonna be treating all of these tonight too. What is that? Thrips? That might be thrips. Fuck. Okay. And back here, I have my Singhania Malvo. It had 3 leaves when it came in, and this is it had 4 leaves when it came in, and this is the newest one that has just sprouted up. But yeah, it loves it here, and it's super cute and doing pretty well. Over here, I have my Philodendron verrucosum. And this is the newest leaf. So pretty, still in the process of hardening up. And this is another one with petioles that are fun. These have the little fuzzy petioles, and I love that. And it actually has another growth point up here. Ash would like to say hello. He's snuggling on my lap. Thank you for watching my plant tour. I went through all 65 houseplants, and so when I was going through my plants, I discovered that some of them had pests. I think my Cuprea actually has thrips, which is exciting. That's not exciting at all, actually. I've never dealt with thrips before, but I have a lot of pest treatments that say they work for thrips, so I think that I'll be okay. So I actually just spent the better part of 2 hours treating my plants and the surrounding plants. You know, it's part of being a plant parent, and part of owning a lot of plants is you're going to have pests, you're going to have problems. It's just expected. It's still frustrating, though, to have to deal with that. Thank you for watching. My name is Sarah. Please like and subscribe, write a comment down below, and I will catch you next time. Bye.